KERAK, need, necessary. Menga taksi kerak. I need a taxi. Menga taksi kerak emas. I don't need a taxi. Emas serves as a negative form, so it's like I don't need it. Kerak emas. Sizga taksi kerakmi? Do you need a taxi? And the suffix ma or me serves as a question. So kerak is need, kerakmi is do you need. Since the Uzbek language is really diverse, we have other synonyms for KERAK, which is ihtiyoj and lozim. So ihtiyoj and lozim are Turkic in origin, and it's used a lot as same as KERAK. KERAK is Mongolic because in the Mongol language you can see the word KERAK. I'm going to show you in a minute when I compare. Menga taksi kerak. It's simple, straight to the point, no emotions portray. You don't want to say anything behind the scenes. It's just that I just want a taxi, that's it. Menga taksi lozimdir. Or you can drop the dir and say menga taksi lozim. It doesn't matter. So this sentence portrays preference and choice, like you don't want anything other than a taxi, so you say it's lozim, like you need it, it's preference. I don't want a tram, I don't want a bus, I want a taxi specifically, so I say menga taksi lozimdir. Now for the last one, meni taksiga ehtiyojim bor. You can drop the mana and you can say taksiga ehtiyojim bor. This sentence portrays the need for a taxi, to depend on it. Like without taxi, you're not gonna go anywhere. So you say, it's like stronger than KERAK. I suggest you write them down, all of it, and then you drop the nouns and verbs and exchange them using translate. I said this before, I'm gonna say it again because it's really important. You write them down, so you drop the taxi, you put something else and it becomes a different sentence. Then you drop KERAK and you add lozim. So that's how you play around with language. Now we're gonna compare it to a few other languages as well. Some of them are similar, some of them are not, so let's go. Now here's the Turkish one. Taksiye ihtiyacım var. As you can see, it's the same with Uzbek, except the structure is changed slightly. You can also make this in Uzbek, which would translate into taksiga ihtiyacım var. Taksiye ihtiyacım var. Taksiga ihtiyacım var. Turkic languages are diverse, so you can have multiple sentences. They can all be different, but you can have the same meaning to its original form. As you can see, Uzbek and Turkish, they have the exact same meaning, except the structure is different, and we can, translate it directly and it can make sense. So the next language is Mongol, and I hope I don't butcher the pronunciation. Nada taksi gerichte bayna. As you can see, it's similar to Uzbek as well. KERAK, gerichte, it changes. And I'm guessing Nadat means I. The next language is Azeri, my favorite, because it's like so similar to Uzbek. Meni taksi lazımdır. Now here's another one which is used, lozim in Azeri. So you can also make this into Uzbek, which means manga taksi lazım, and it's in Azeri, meni taksi lazımdır. The next one is Kazakh, magan taksi kerek. Here's a similar word for kerek. It's in Kazakh. So you can see even Mongol can make, it can be similar like to all the Turkish languages. So they're not different. If you learn one Turkic language, you're going to learn the next one with ease because they all have the same root. Now here's an interesting one. Menga taksi kerak, the original sentence, the I is emphasized, like you need taxi. No one else needs it, you need taxi. The next one is taksi kerak menga. The taxi is emphasized, so you need a taxi, not anything else, a taxi. The next one is kerak menga taxi. It emphasizes on the necessity and the need, like you need a taxi, like you need it. So it's on the first. The next one is kerak taksi menga. This emphasizes on the necessity and the taxi, so you need a taxi. You don't need anything else, you need a taxi. So you can see how playful this language is. You can change around the verbs and nouns and it can still make sense. As a beginner, you don't need to worry about this. As long as you learn the words and the verbs, you can just, arrange them in any order and it's gonna make sense. What I suggest you do is go to Google Translate or any translator, write any text in your own language into Uzbek, and then write it down to your notebook. Then switch the verbs and the nouns and the pronouns, everything around, and see where the sentence goes. Retranslate it to your original language. You're gonna see maybe minor differences, but the meaning is gonna stay the same. It's easy for beginners and it's really fun, so you don't need to worry about structures as a beginner, and you should start with learning the vocabulary first, because that is the most important part. That is all we have for today. Thank you for watching, and please do share the video to anyone you think wants to learn a language. Send them as a challenge and see where they go. So yeah, that was all. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.